Okay, nice solid shot. So let's take a look at the TrackMan numbers. Okay, we're going to look at this number dynamic loft way down here over here on well, your right, my left. And we had an attack angle hitting down 5.5 degrees. I hit it pretty solidly, but I hit it to the left, probably missed the green a little bit. Carried it 154, total 161. Now, I have a golf club with 38 degrees of loft on it, yet my dynamic loft was 25 degrees. You know, this particular shot missing left's not the best example because you can have a low dynamic loft simply by shutting the face. But the key is to have a low dynamic loft without the face being closed. So let's talk about how we're going to do that. How to have a shallow angle of attack, basically hitting down 5 degrees or 6 degrees or 4 degrees, but not too excessive, certainly not 8, 9, 10, 11 degrees. Just a sliver of down, but yet have a bunch of forward shaft lean. So we're going to take a quick look at the rear view, and I'll explain why the rear view is really, really important. You know, you don't often, teachers don't usually take a look at this perspective, but I think it's really a pretty important view to look at. So I'm going to hit a shot, and we're going to take a look at what my body does from behind. Now, what you see there, you know, I'm going to put that in slow-mo, we can look at that. You're going to see how my hips on my backswing, my center stayed pretty darn still, okay? I turned about a pretty stable center. A little bit of head motion's fine, but my preference is a pretty stable center. Now on the downswing, you saw some action where my hips went toward the target. Really, really important, because think about it. Do we really want our hips to turn abruptly to the left? We can't. If we do that, our path is going to go abruptly to the left, and we're going to hit down on the golf ball and take really, really steep divots. But maybe we don't do that. Maybe we hit down on the golf ball and teach ourselves how to have a chicken wing to reduce some of that downward strike. So let's take a look on the face-on view. You know, a couple of weeks ago, I showed you guys at Revolution Golf, and gals, how we use our left leg to help us come out of the ground. How something working down the club head from our hands, here's a downward motion, doesn't stick in the ground because we help shallow it with our left shoulder working upward and our left leg working upward. Now this is very much like patting your head and rubbing your tummy. It's not easy, but we can't push on the ground unless our weight's into our left side. So typically, most golfers are going to start off with their weight 50-50. Perhaps they have a little bias in their left foot. That's my preference. And in order to really have a condition where you can have forward shaft lean, a strong dynamic loft, basically reducing the loft of the irons to strengthen the strike, we have to have the ability to get our weight on our forward foot so that we can push off, so we can launch ourselves a little bit. Some folks launch themselves so much, like Bubba Watson and Tiger Woods, they physically come off the ground. Some of you out there launch yourself too early to make room for something that's going to crash into the ground. There is a sequence here, okay? So that sequence of how to have this forward shaft lean. This is my static loft, 38 degrees. Now I start with maybe my handle a hint forward leaning, but at impact, and I'll slow this down for you. That's a pretty strong strike right there. That shaft, that dynamic loft up there is 25 degrees. I've reduced the loft on this golf club significantly by getting my weight on my left foot and getting my hips to the left. And everybody says, well, Martin, you don't want to do this and slide. People, I'm not sliding. The slicers out there are doing this kind of motion. They're taking up their hips and they're drastically turning them to the left. The drawers out there, the people hitting it to the right and hitting a pretty draw, their hips aren't turning rapidly until post-impact. You know, if I hit a shot right at the camera, you'd see a minimal amount of hip turn, just a little bit, at impact, and then the hips would blaze through. The thing is that we see fast hips from professional golfers. You know, those fast hips aren't from here and then ripping this way. That's not what professional golfers do. Professional golfers and great strikers have a sequence of getting their arms back in front of them so that when they strike it, they have a path going a little right of where the face is aiming. Then the next piece is that explosion to the finish. So that's how you have that strong dynamic loft with shallow strikes. Use the towel. Remember, in order to have a good strike, our weight has to be on our forward foot. This is Martin Chuck from Tour Striker at the Raven Golf Club Phoenix. Post your questions and comments down below. I'll get to as many as I can. Thanks for watching.